Welcome back to our chilling series exploring the haunted corners of the Lone Star State, where history and horror intertwine in ways that defy explanation. In this seventh installment of Most Haunted Places in Texas, we delve deeper into the shadows cast by ghostly legends, uncovering tales so spine-tingling they'll leave you questioning the boundaries between the living and the dead. From abandoned asylums to centuries-old battlefields, Texas is a treasure trove of spectral stories rooted in tragedy, betrayal, and unrelenting sorrow. Texas haunted places are more than just locations. They're vessels carrying the echoes of lives lived and lost. These sites bear witness to events that continue to reverberate through time: Civil War skirmishes, frontier feuds, unsolved murders, and the lingering presence of those who refuse to move on. Each place holds its own dark secrets, whispered through creaking floorboards, flickering lights, and disembodied voices that drift through empty halls. Whether you're drawn by morbid curiosity or an insatiable thirst for the supernatural, these destinations promise encounters that blur the line between reality and nightmare. In this episode, we'll journey to some of the most infamous haunted locales across Texas, places steeped in lore and fear, where the past refuses to stay buried. We'll peer into the shadowy depths of haunted hotels, explore eerie mansions cloaked in mystery, and tread cautiously through abandoned institutions teeming with restless spirits. Along the way, we'll hear first-hand accounts from witnesses brave enough to confront the unknown, examine chilling evidence captured by paranormal investigators, and unravel the tragic histories that give rise to these hauntings. So dim the lights, keep your ears sharp, and prepare yourself for a descent into the macabre. As we step into the haunted heart of Texas, remember, sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil, and once you cross it, there's no turning back. The Jefferson Hotel, a ghostly grandeur in Dallas. Nestled in the bustling heart of downtown Dallas, the Jefferson Hotel stands as a monument to both luxury and despair, a grand architectural masterpiece whose opulent facade conceals decades of tragedy and supernatural activity. Opened in 1913 during the height of the Gilded Age, the hotel quickly became a retreat for oil tycoons, celebrities, and politicians seeking refuge in its lavish accommodations. With its sweeping staircases, crystal chandeliers, and panoramic views of the city skyline, the Jefferson epitomized elegance and sophistication. Yet beneath its polished exterior lay a darker narrative, one marked by scandal, violence, and untimely deaths. One of the most enduring legends tied to the Jefferson Hotel revolves around room 306, said to be haunted by the spirit of a jilted lover named Elizabeth. According to local lore, Elizabeth checked into the hotel in the 1920s under the pretense of meeting her fiancé, only to discover he had abandoned her for another woman. Overcome with grief, she took her own life in the room, leaving behind a legacy of sorrow that continues to haunt visitors today. Guests staying in room 306 frequently report strange occurrences: lights turning on and off by themselves, radios tuning to static-filled stations, and the overwhelming scent of gardenias lingering in the air. Some claim to wake up in the middle of the night to find their bedsheets tangled impossibly tight around their limbs, as if restrained by invisible hands. Another prominent figure in the hotel's haunted lore is believed to be none other than Bonnie Parker of Bonnie and Clyde infamy. The notorious outlaw reportedly stayed at the Jefferson during her crime spree, using one of the rooms as a hideout. Paranormal investigators exploring the property have captured EVP recordings suggesting the presence of a female entity whispering phrases like, "Run," and "They're coming." Witnesses describe seeing a shadowy figure resembling Bonnie pacing anxiously near windows, clutching what appears to be a gun before vanishing without a trace. The hotel's basement, once used for storage and laundry operations, has become a focal point of paranormal activity. Employees tasked with cleaning the area often describe hearing chains rattling and heavy footsteps echoing through the cavernous space, though no one else is present. Some claim to see shadowy figures dragging invisible loads, their movements jerky and unnatural. A particularly chilling account comes from a maintenance worker who swore he felt cold metal cuffs snap around his wrists, pulling him backward toward the darkness before releasing him abruptly. Overnight visitors to the Jefferson Hotel frequently recount bizarre experiences that defy logical explanation. Lights flicker unpredictably, especially in hallways leading to the older sections of the building. Doors slammed shut on their own, and the scent of cigar smoke wafts through the air despite the hotel's strict no-smoking policy. One guest described waking up to find his reflection in the mirror staring back at him, but not quite matching his movements, as if another entity stood behind him, mimicking his actions. Another recounted seeing a man in a dusty miner's outfit standing at the foot of her bed, his hollow eyes boring into hers before vanishing without a sound. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Jefferson Hotel remains a popular destination for history enthusiasts and thrill-seekers alike. Its rich tapestry of human drama, interwoven with tragedy and loss, creates an atmosphere unlike any other. For those brave enough to book a stay, the possibility of encountering Elizabeth, Bonnie, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor crosses its threshold, they must decide whether they are ready to face the darkness that lingers within these walls, or will they become another chapter in the hotel's tragic tale. The Ashton Villa, elegance entangled with the supernatural in the heart of Galveston, where the salty breeze of the Gulf Coast mingles with the echoes of history, stands the Ashton Villa. A stately Victorian mansion that has borne witness to over a century of joy, sorrow, and spectral encounters. Built in 1859 by James Morrow Brown, one of Galveston's wealthiest merchants, the villa quickly became a symbol of prosperity and refinement. Its ornate ironwork, towering columns, and sprawling verandas evoke a sense of timeless grace, yet beneath its polished veneer lies a darker history steeped in tragedy, betrayal, and haunting legacies. One of the most iconic hauntings associated with Ashton Villa is that of Rebecca Brown, the daughter of James Morrow Brown, who passed away under mysterious circumstances in the early 1900s. Described as vivacious and kind-hearted, Rebecca's life was cut tragically short when she succumbed to illness at a young age. Her memory has since become intertwined with the fabric of the villa. Guests and staff alike report seeing a woman in a flowing Victorian gown gliding silently through the corridors, her translucent form illuminated by dim light. Some claim to feel an icy draft pass through them as she drifts by, while others report hearing soft humming emanating from empty rooms, believed to be Rebecca tidying up after guests long gone. Another prominent figure in the villa's haunted lore is believed to be Captain James Morrow Brown himself, whose larger-than-life personality left an indelible mark on the property. Visitors recount sightings of a tall, imposing man clad in period attire, pacing anxiously near the library or sitting alone in the parlor. His presence is often accompanied by the faint rustle of papers and the smell of ink, as though he's still overseeing business dealings from another era. Some speculate that Captain Brown lingers due to unfinished business, unable to part ways with the home that defined his legacy. The villa's attic, once used for storage and servant quarters, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Employees tasked with maintaining the area describe hearing muffled voices and the sound of footsteps echoing through the narrow passageways, though no one else is present. Objects are known to move inexplicably. Tools vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. One particularly unnerving incident involved a janitor who swore he saw a young boy playing with marbles in the corner of the room, only for the child to disappear when approached. Theories abound that the boy may have been a victim of illness or accident during the villa's early years, forever trapped in the confines of its upper levels. Modern-day investigations into Ashton Villa's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, including the grand staircase and the attic. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique furniture pieces believed to have belonged to original owners. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "I'm sorry," and "Let me go." Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, Ashton Villa continues to draw visitors eager to immerse themselves in its storied past. For those brave enough to book a stay, the opportunity to encounter Rebecca Brown, Captain Brown, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its architectural splendor or the thrill of peeling back the layers of its enigmatic history, Ashton Villa promises an unforgettable experience where the line between the living and the dead blurs, and the echoes of yesterday linger just beyond reach. The Alamo, shadows of sacrifice and sorrow deep in the heart of San Antonio, shrouded by reverence and the weight of history, stands the Alamo, a hallowed site that has come to symbolize courage, sacrifice, and the enduring spirit of Texas. Yet beyond its celebrated role in the Battle of 1836, the Alamo harbors darker secrets, whispers of restless spirits who refused to leave the sacred ground where they fought and died. This iconic mission-turned fortress bears silent witness to the bloodshed, despair, and unrelenting anguish that plagued those who defended its walls, and to the spectral echoes that remain bound to its haunted grounds. One of the most pervasive legends tied to the Alamo centers around the chapel, where countless soldiers perished during the final assault. Historical records indicate that conditions were dire, with defenders outnumbered and outgunned, their bodies left to rot in the scorching sun before being hastily buried. Decades later, visitors exploring the site report hearing faint moans and cries emanating from the chapel. Some claim to see shadowy figures huddled in the corners, their faces obscured by darkness, while others described feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them as they approached the altar. Another haunting figure associated with the Alamo is believed to be Davy Crockett, the legendary frontiersman who played a pivotal role in its defense. According to folklore, Crockett fell valiantly during the battle, his body mutilated by enemy forces. Locals believe his ghost haunts the barracks, pacing anxiously as though still preparing for the fateful day. Guests visiting the Alamo have reported seeing a pale figure standing near the cannons, his expression frozen in eternal determination. Others describe hearing the faint clinking of spurs and the rustle of fabric, as though someone is readying for battle once more. The mission's courtyard, where many defenders made their last stand, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Visitors walking among the weathered stones often feel an inexplicable sense of dread, as though unseen eyes are watching their every move. Shadows flit across peripheral vision, disappearing when directly observed. Some claim to hear disembodied voices calling out names unfamiliar to modern ears, believed to be the voices of soldiers and civilians buried without proper markers. Others report seeing apparitions of men in tattered uniforms, their faces gaunt and weary, standing silently amidst the ruins. Paranormal investigators exploring the Alamo have documented numerous instances of unexplained phenomena. EMF detectors routinely spike in certain areas, particularly near the chapel and the barracks. EVP recordings capture faint whispers pleading for help, interspersed with anguished cries. One investigator captured a chilling photograph of a translucent figure standing in the doorway of the chapel, its hands raised as if begging for mercy. These findings have solidified the Alamo's reputation as one of Texas's most active haunted sites. Despite, or perhaps because of, its grim history, the Alamo continues to attract curious souls eager to confront its spectral inhabitants. For many, visiting the site serves as both a pilgrimage and a reckoning, an opportunity to honor the lives lost and acknowledge the sacrifices made in pursuit of freedom. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its haunting beauty or the weight of its tragic legacy, the Alamo offers an unforgettable experience where the past refuses to fade quietly into oblivion. The Waco Suspension Bridge whispers beneath the iron span spanning the Brazos River in downtown Waco. The Waco Suspension Bridge stands as a testament to engineering ingenuity and historical significance. Completed in 1870, it served as a vital transportation link for settlers, traders, and travelers crossing the wild frontier of central Texas. With its intricate ironwork and sturdy cables, the bridge exudes a rugged charm that has made it a beloved landmark. Yet beneath its utilitarian facade lies a darker narrative, one steeped in tragedy, despair, and the lingering presence of those who met untimely ends upon its span. One of the most persistent legends tied to the Waco Suspension Bridge involves a young woman named Clara, whose story has become synonymous with the structure's haunted reputation. According to local folklore, Clara fell deeply in love with a soldier stationed nearby during the Reconstruction era. When news of his death reached her, she was overcome with grief and threw herself off the bridge, plunging into the murky waters below. Since then, visitors have reported seeing a spectral figure perched precariously on the railing, gazing downward as though contemplating a leap. Others describe hearing faint sobs carried by the wind, accompanied by the splash of water rippling against the riverbanks. The bridge also bears witness to numerous accidental deaths and suicides that occurred throughout its operational years. Records show that several individuals lost their footing and plummeted into the river, while others deliberately chose the bridge as the site of their final act. Modern-day explorers recount eerie encounters along the span, including sudden drops in temperature and the sensation of being watched. Some claim to see shadowy figures pacing restlessly near the edges, their forms dissolving into mist when approached. Others report feeling an inexplicable urge to jump, as though compelled by an unseen force. Adding to the bridge's haunted allure are the countless vehicles and livestock that crossed its path during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Many believe residual energy from these journeys remains trapped within the iron framework, manifesting as phantom sounds of hooves clattering and wagon wheels creaking. At night, when the bridge is bathed in moonlight, some visitors swear they can hear the distant clip-clop of horses and the low murmur of conversation, as though a procession from another era continues to traverse the span. Paranormal investigators exploring the Waco Suspension Bridge have captured compelling evidence of its supernatural activity. Thermal cameras reveal cold spots concentrated near the center of the bridge, where many of the tragedies unfolded. Audio recordings pick up fragmented phrases like "help me" and "don't let go," delivered in tones of sheer desperation. One particularly unsettling discovery came when a team member set up motion-activated cameras overnight, capturing footage of a translucent figure standing motionless at the midpoint before vanishing without explanation. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Waco Suspension Bridge remains a popular destination for tourists and locals alike. Its picturesque setting and rich history make it a favorite spot for photography and leisurely strolls. For those brave enough to venture onto the span after dark, the promise of encountering Clara or one of the countless other spirits said to linger adds an element of fascination and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor steps onto the iron planks, they must ask themselves, are they prepared to face the echoes of the past? Or will they become another chapter in the bridge's macabre legacy? As we traverse the haunted landscapes of Texas, from the opulent halls of the Jefferson Hotel to the somber grounds of the Alamo, striking similarities emerge that transcend individual locations and histories. These patterns are not merely coincidental but reflect universal themes of human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the enduring power of memory. From the wailing wards of hospitals to the shadowed basements of monuments, these sites share a commonality that binds them together in a spectral sisterhood of sorrow and suspense. One recurring motif is the concept of unfinished business. Whether it's the victims of unethical experiments, or the betrayed trust of patients subjected to inhumane treatments, these spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices, that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, reflecting humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic buildings, with their labyrinthine corridors, thick walls, and hidden alcoves, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: operating rooms where surgeries went awry, basements where bodies were stored, or wards where patients met tragic ends. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing guests to confront the unknown. The use of mirrors, a recurring element in stories from various haunted hospitals, adds another layer of psychological tension, as reflections distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. This interplay of light and shadow becomes a tool wielded by unseen forces, creating moments of visceral terror that linger long after the initial shock subsides. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each location's haunting is deeply rooted in its unique past, shaped by the socio-cultural milieu of its time. The brutal medical practices embedded in the DNA of older establishments contrast sharply with the glamorous yet tragic lives immortalized in urban legends. Yet both narratives tap into broader archetypes of ambition, betrayal, and mortality, ensuring their resonance with audiences regardless of personal experience. By drawing on these universal motifs, these haunted places transform from mere buildings into living repositories of collective memory, inviting us to peer into the abyss of our shared humanity. Thus, while each establishment boasts its own distinct flavor of fright, the underlying threads connecting them reveal a tapestry rich with meaning. These patterns remind us that the supernatural is not so much about the entities themselves but the stories they tell, the echoes of lives interrupted, passions extinguished, and truths obscured. As we continue to explore these haunted locales, we find ourselves grappling not only with the specters of the past but with the timeless questions they raise about life, death, and everything in between. The psychology of fear. Why haunted places captivate us? What is it about haunted places that grips our imaginations so profoundly? Beyond the creaking floorboards and flickering lights lies a deeper allure, one rooted in the psychology of fear and the human fascination with the unknown. These sites, by their very nature, are places of vulnerability. They are where we confront our mortality, stripped of autonomy and control, relying entirely on the expertise of others to heal us, or where justice was denied, leaving wounds that refuse to heal. When these spaces become haunted, they amplify our primal fears, transforming familiar settings into arenas of existential dread. The combination of historical context, architectural design, and the lingering presence of past suffering creates a perfect storm of terror that resonates deeply within us. At the core of this captivation is the concept of liminality, the state of being on the threshold between two worlds. Haunted places exist in this liminal space, bridging life and death, health and illness, hope and despair. This inherent duality makes them fertile ground for supernatural narratives. Ghosts, as manifestations of unresolved trauma or unfinished business, embody the tension of being caught between states. They serve as reminders that the boundaries we construct, between life and afterlife, sanity and madness, are far more permeable than we'd like to believe. For many, visiting a haunted site feels like stepping into a twilight zone where the rules of reality no longer apply, igniting both curiosity and unease. Architecturally, haunted places contribute to this atmosphere of dread through their design. Long, sterile hallways lined with identical doors create a sense of disorientation, while poor lighting and echoing acoustics heighten sensory awareness. These features mimic the psychological effects of anxiety and claustrophobia, making even mundane sounds, a distant cough, the hum of fluorescent lights, feel ominous. The labyrinthine layouts of older structures, with their hidden wings and underground tunnels, evoke feelings of entrapment and uncertainty. Every corner becomes a potential threat, every shadow a possible harbinger of danger. This environmental manipulation taps into our instinctual fight-or-flight response, keeping us perpetually on edge. Cultural influences also play a significant role in shaping our fascination with haunted places. Media representations, from films like The Shining to television series such as American Horror Story, have cemented the trope of the haunted asylum, courthouse, or battlefield as a locus of horror. These portrayals often blend historical truths with fictional embellishments, creating a mythology that blurs fact and fiction. Audiences are drawn to these stories because they reflect societal anxieties about institutional power, systemic injustice, and the fragility of the human mind. Haunted places become microcosms of larger fears, the loss of agency, the misuse of authority, and the haunting specter of mistakes made in the name of progress. Moreover, haunted places appeal to our desire for catharsis. Engaging with these tales allows us to process our own fears about mortality, injustice, and the flaws inherent in systems meant to protect us. By confronting ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena, we externalize internal anxieties, transforming abstract fears into tangible adversaries. This vicarious experience provides a safe outlet for exploring the darker aspects of human existence, offering both thrill and relief. It's no wonder that ghost tours and paranormal investigations of haunted places attract participants eager to test their courage against the unknown. Ultimately, the enduring allure of haunted places lies in their ability to mirror our deepest fears while challenging our understanding of reality. They remind us that the past is never truly buried, that pain and injustice leave indelible marks on both people and places. As we walk their haunted halls, we are forced to confront not only the spirits said to inhabit them but also the ghosts within ourselves, the regrets, doubts, and unanswered questions that linger long after the wounds have healed. In doing so, we find a strange comfort in knowing that we are not alone in our fears, that others have walked these same paths and emerged, shaken but alive, to tell their stories. As we bring this chilling journey through Texas' most haunted places to a close, one thing becomes abundantly clear: the spirits of the past refuse to be silenced. Each creaking floorboard, each whispered name, and each fleeting shadow serves as a testament to lives lived, lost, and lingering in the spaces we dare to call haunted. These stories are more than mere campfire tales. They are fragments of history, stitched together by human emotion, tragedy, and the relentless passage of time. They remind us that the line between the living and the dead is far thinner than we might believe, and that sometimes the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of Texas' haunted places yourself. Walk the same halls where spirits are said to roam, stand in the rooms where history's echoes reverberate, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these forsaken institutions offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond comprehension. There's nothing quite like experiencing the weight of decades-old despair firsthand, feeling the chill of a presence that defies explanation, or hearing the faint strains of voices from another time. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint tap of footsteps in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all, but isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted places, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come. Share your findings with fellow enthusiasts, document your journey, and keep the conversation alive. After all, every whisper contributes to the symphony of the supernatural. Until then, keep your lanterns lit and your courage steady. The spirits are waiting.